The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style. From the highs to the lows, every story just explodes. Mike's got questions on the go, diving deep from head to toe. Every week the guests align, sharing moments so divine. Stay with us, the pace is fine. Every episode you'll find. The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style.
Memorial Day 2026, coming to you from the Hilton Village Community Center. I'm here with the new Parma Hilton Historical Society president, Mr. Jerry Pickett, who marched in the parade. Jerry, thank you for joining me on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
How was it marching in the parade? Did it bring back a lot of patriotism to you and your thoughts on the village and your lineage?
Oh, yeah, it was really cool, actually. I hadn't marched in a parade since 1976 during the bicentennial celebration, and we marched from Parma Center all the way down to the town hall. And so it was a little different experience, but once you got the hang of it, it was great. Throwing candy and stuff to the kids. But really, more than anything else, and especially the ceremony that we just participated in, pride in country and pride in our community. What an amazing place that we live. And the turnout was spectacular. The ceremony was quaint, quick, and very heartfelt. So, yeah, and the timing for this year and our semi-quincentennial celebration, 250 years, doesn't get any better than that. So, yeah, really happy to participate.
How many veterans were riding on that flatbed? Did you see that?
Yeah, well, there was the honor guard or color guard that came out of the VFW Lodge, led by Kyle Mullen there. But on the flatbed, I would say there was probably maybe a dozen, maybe a little less of our veterans that are able to march but are still with us.
And then Amanda Dudley, she read the names of the Revolutionary War soldiers that are buried in Parma. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So there's probably just short of 24 Revolutionary War veterans that are buried here in the Hilton Parma cemeteries. And there's a book that's called Homespun Heroes that was done by Shirley Cox Houston, who was a former historian. She's since deceased. But each of these veterans participated in some of the most famous battles that occurred during the Revolutionary War, and they chose our town as a place to spend their later years and were subsequently buried. I actually, through my ancestry work, discovered that two of those veterans actually were my 6th and 7th great grandparents. So it's just so cool and to know that my family was here and helped settle this town. And even in some of the studying that came out of how people got here, I had one ancestor who actually is not buried here, but his descendants did come here ultimately. But he came through the Sullivan campaign. General Sullivan was asked by Washington to come out to Western New York and to clear the Indians who were supporting the British at the time. And so through their travails through Western New York, these veterans, when the war was over and the Norman Phelps land tract was opened up, they had an understanding of what happened or what this land was like, how luscious it was, how fertile it was. And, it was a great opportunity for them to expand. And so a lot of the veterans coming out of the war who had that experience are the ones that came up here and ultimately settled in this area.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I believe there's a historical marker for a Revolutionary War veteran. Do you know where that is and any history behind that?
That's my 6th great grandfather.
Oh, that's the one?
Yeah, Silas Leonard. Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
Connection.
Bezaleel Atchison was the founder of the community. Was Bezaleel Atchison out on Hill Road. There's a cemetery out there. And his father was my 7th great grandfather, and he was in the Revolutionary Senior President. And then one of his sons, Sylvester, had a daughter who married Silas Leonard's son. Silas Leonard was my sixth great grandfather. Lewis Leonard is who married into the Atchison family. And they're all buried on Hill Road at the Atchison Cemetery.
Okay.
So,
And then you guys have been doing some work with the Sons of the American Revolution, and I would assume that's your connection.
yeah, well, absolutely. Ironically, not.
Okay. Fill me in.
So Tom Berger, who is part of the Historical Society and obviously was a businessman here in Hilton, one day at one of our cemetery events, he was wearing an SAR hat, Sons of the American Revolution. I said, "Oh, Tom, you're a member of that. That's pretty cool." And he was like, "Yeah, you could be too." And I said, "What do you mean?" I had no idea that I had family members that were in the Revolutionary War. And he said, "Yes, Leith Wright, who was my cousin, also was a historian at the time. She was a Cox, and Tom told me William Cox, who was buried out in the Syracuse area, was in the Revolutionary War. And if I could get my connectivity back to him, that I could join this organization." So one winter, I took it upon myself to do the research and develop the package, show the lineage, submitted the application, and long story short, I became a member of the Sons of the American Revolution through the lineage to William Cox. His family ultimately came here, and I'm a descendant of the Cox family as well. But doing that, I got my uncle Todd, and obviously, because we have the same lineage. But then doing that also inspired Dave Crum, who is our historian, John Toll, who's also a trustee on the Historical Society board. And so Tom, myself, Todd, Dave Crum, John Toll, we've since found out there's another person here locally, but I would encourage everybody to do your ancestry. I can assure you, I had no idea. I can assure you, many of you are descendants of Revolutionary War participants, and it's really interesting to find out. And I've since bought books, and I'm trying to read a little bit about what their experiences were. The Sullivan Campaign, I didn't know anything about it. That's where William Cox participated. So
Now, when you found out your lineage, did you use like 23andMe or any of those services, or like how did you make the track back to?
So I did do 23andMe, but
Is that the right way? Did I say it?
No,
right?
no, that is the DNA, and
Okay.
that gets you connected more or less to the living people, and there's actually some stories that come out of that. But the majority of what I was able to accomplish came through ancestry.com.
Okay.
It was spectacular. You can do the search mechanisms there, and you can connect to other people who have already done the research, and you close gaps pretty quick.
Okay.
So, but the SAR process is no joke. They do have genealogists in Washington who actually go through and verify and certify that you actually have proven your lineage.
I think in another podcast, I do want to hear some of those stories that you went across.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
really would.
Yep.
And so now you went from being a board member to now you're president of the board. How has that role changed for you, and what do you do?
Well, right now, not much. We're really in the transition. John Foster has served in that role for 12 years. He's done a great job in ushering board and all the events that we've done. I was very active when I first got involved. From a work standpoint, over the last few years, there's been some changes, and it's really taken a lot more of my time and energy away from the available time that I had to give to the Historical Society. So I haven't been as active in doing the projects that I had been doing before. But with this transition, my attention is going to be turned more towards helping to lead the organization. And it's not that it needs much leading. There's really great people on the board that do all sorts of great things, and it's really a lot about projects. And our motto is to discover, preserve, and educate, and that is really what the organization is all about. And so, the discovery part, I just explained some things I've discovered, and I think everybody has an opportunity out there to discover about themselves and their family. And just a quick side note: Amanda Dudley, who was the assistant historian to Dave Crum here in the village, all the things that she just did a reading here and the things that she's done to adopt this community. She's not even from here.
Mm-hmm.
And she just loves history.
Yep.
And so for people who even aren't from here, the opportunities from a history standpoint are just limitless. But those who are from here, and there's obviously a lot of deep, rich roots here in the community for a lot of families that we all know the names that go back, generation after generation. The opportunities to explore that are just phenomenal. So I would encourage people to do that. But as far as what I'm going to be doing with the board, it's really a lot of formal things about our processes, some of the events that we're going to participate in, the money around keeping the organization going, and then helping to support the project work that we do, because there are a lot of project opportunities, things that we're engaged in, but also things that we still want to do. And a lot of that takes, people. So I do encourage people that are potentially have an interest to raise your hand and volunteer. There are ways that you can help this organization.
What are some ways they can get in touch with the organization, with your website?
Well, through the website, there's Parma Hilton Historical Society.com. Dave Crum has office hours that he's the historian here at the community center every Wednesday from 7 to 9. You can always stop into the museum down on 259. The museum is open on Sundays from 2 to 4. There's always docents there that will be willing to help show you not only the museum, but get you involved as well. And then from September through May of every year, we have programs on Tuesday nights. This is a new thing too. We've hopped around a little bit to different venues trying to find the better fit. And we've now settled out at the fire department. On Tuesday nights, they've got a great meeting room with all the high-end equipment that we need for broadcasting and reporting. And it seats, a couple hundred people. So we're real excited about that. And that'll be starting next fall in September, our first program.
That's great. I'm glad the location move and date change.
Yeah.
Okay, flipping now to America 250, big celebration on July 4th. What's your role, or what type of things are you doing getting ready for that day?
So we've been talking about this for a long time, and all of a sudden here it is. And so the wheels of progress sometimes turn a little slowly, but we've been very active in trying to plan for this. Amanda Dudley has taken the bull by the horns, and she's set up meetings. We've been meeting monthly, and we have a calendar full of events that basically have been going on throughout the year. This was obviously one of them that we did today with the Memorial Day Parade, but there are events planned for the rest of the year, but different people had different roles. And the thing that I volunteered to take ownership for was the time capsule. And so I am actually, the board just approved the material purchases, and I'm actually going to build, and I've sort of conceived an idea for a time capsule. You can go and buy these things online, but they're a couple $1,000. It's crazy talk. And we're going to, we actually are trying to emulate a little bit after what our predecessors did in 1976 for the bicentennial. And we actually had the pleasure of opening that time capsule up and finding some of the goodies in there that people left us 50 years ago.
Okay.
And we intend to do the same thing for our ancestors 50 years from now. So we're going to be building a time capsule and filling it with different items from the community. There's already been an advertisement made and an application out there for people and organizations that want to include documents or whatever keepsakes they might want to have in the time capsule. And we're going to be doing a ceremony at the town hall, or the museum. I believe it's on August 8th. It's in August.
Okay.
But it's going to be a ceremony where we're going to be closing and locking the time capsule. And, a typical time capsule might be buried, but we're not going to be burying this. We're going to be keeping it storage. We are going to ceremonially bury a key though and lock this thing.
Okay.
And we're also going to be planting a tree. I intend to donate an oak tree. It's actually an acorn that I grew from an acorn to an oak tree. It's about 6 feet tall right now.
Really?
Yeah, I did it in 2020. And it's actually an oak tree acorn that came from the tree on the 7th hole at the Deerfield Country Club. So there's a lot, even the tree is going to be a Hilton ancestor. So
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So you said you're using that engineering mind of yours to build the time capsule. Very nice.
I've already conceived it. I've always dabbled in woodworking. I like doing woodworking.
Okay.
So I've conceived what this is going to look like. So it's going to be a decorative time capsule. And hopefully it turns out as nice as I picture it.
Now, you said you already opened the one from 76.
Yes.
Can you divulge what you found in there, or is that?
It was, there wasn't like any aha moments, or we didn't find, the Curse of Oak Island type treasure. There was, programs from the Hilton Raiders and from the, bulletins from the various church organizations around town. There was some political information that was left by the mayor and the town supervisor and those types of folks. So it was just, more reminiscent. But this year we are trying to encourage people to write some essays, maybe some things that they've thought of, or their current experiences in the community. Margaret Wheelahan worked with with Nancy. Look forward to create a coloring book, and we're doing a coloring contest with the ancestors from the Revolutionary War that were local. We actually, the coloring book, and I think they did a podcast with you on this.
Yep, sure
It
did.
is spectacular. And there's so much history in there. And so I think remnants of that will be included in the time capsule. It's always fun to throw in maybe a coin or two from, 2026. So if they have that. So we'll see, pictures, things like that. I think a message from the Historical Society will be important. Fire department, all the different organizations in town are invited to participate in this. And maybe we can throw in something from you, a podcast from you.
I can throw in a business card.
Yeah.
How about a kernel from Pickett's popcorn?
Sure, that's a good idea.
Or the recipe.
A bag of popcorn. I don't know if it'll hold up well, but it may taste good though. So, yeah.
Well, I think that's great. And you said that the planting will be at the museum on 259.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And who's going to take control of? Is that going to be?
That'll stay with the historian. It's hard enough to find your car keys some days.
Right.
So I have no hopes that this key will be available in 50 years. So they'll probably have to cut the lock off, which is okay. But we'll give the historian a key and we'll see if it survives. Well, I won't see, but maybe your daughter will be able to see it. Yes.
Okay. One last question. What do you want our youth of our community to remember as we approach this event?
This is the greatest country ever on earth. The opportunities that you have and the liberties that you have, which honestly had been at risk in the last several years, definitely you need to cherish that. You really need to understand and embrace our history and the advantages. There's a reason why the rest of the world wants to come here, and the people that want to change that are a true risk to the advantages that are offered. There's a book that's called The 5,000-Year Lead, and it talks about how the world basically stagnated for centuries, minor technological advances, but never really took off until America. And it's the combination of the freedoms that we have coupled with capitalism that were a spark that have created all that we have, the abundance that we have. We are so fortunate. So, and there's one thing that I'd come up with my own little acronym for the benefits that we have in this world, and it's age, and it's appreciation, that you should appreciate everything we have. I certainly do. Have gratitude for those that came before us, for all that they had done to get us to where we are today. And endurance, that everything, the sacrifices and all the things that the challenges that life throws at you, to power through that, because there are so many great things that are still waiting for us in this country. And God bless America.
Well, Jerry, those are some powerful words from the president of the PHHS. I mean, I really appreciate you joining me on this podcast. I know you had a busy day, but I look forward to seeing your group and what they do for July 4th. If you like this podcast, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Follow me on X, Rumble, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Jerry, thank you for joining me, and we look forward to July 4th.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me. H. Thanks.
The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style. From the highs to the lows, every story just explodes. Mike's got questions on the go, diving deep from head to toe. Every week the guests align, sharing moments so divine. Stay with us, the pace is fine. Every episode you'll find